Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again by our interview on the Excel Joint Undertaking Symposium 2021. For today's session, for today's interview, we have the pleasure to have with us Manfred Horstmann, who is the Managing Director of GLOBALFOUNDRIES Dresden. Manfred, very welcome with us, and we are very happy to have you here. We obviously would like to ask you a couple of questions of interest to the audience, the ECS audience, and maybe allow me to start with the first one, maybe of how to say of immediate interest. We see a current dip. We still see a current dip in the supply of the semiconductor chips, at large. Because you are a fab and you're immediately affected, can you just sketch a little what are the reasons behind this current dip, and whether this will be a momentary situation or a more fundamental situation?
Okay, hey, first, thank you for the invitation, Bert, and really good question. And as you said, the semiconductor industry, in particular, the foundry industry, is very popular currently due to the supply, right? So, hey, let me describe a little bit the situation. We have an extremely high demand. And this is driven by multiple factors. And one factor is COVID-19 basically uncovered pretty brutally our gaps in digitalization. And now everyone would like to fill them. And then secondly, we are in a conversion from combustion to e-machines in the car industry. And third, we have a couple of global trade wars ongoing, and digital sovereignty is really a big topic currently. And in all this environment in total, right, this led to an extremely high demand on chips, in particular for consumer electronics to catch up in the digitalization, but also in the automotive industry, basically to allow a smooth and fast transition from combustion to e-machines, and also making out of cars more driving computers. And then your next question is this kind of just temporary or will this be longer? I simply have to tell you, it's really a strong demand over multiple years. We have customers signing with us long-term agreements, supply agreements with a horizon of roughly 5 years, some of them even longer. So it's really a strong demand which is going on for the next years. And I'm 25 years in this business. It's a special situation right now. It was never been like this in the past 2 decades.
Well, it's remarkable. Obviously, the COVID situation has been very sad and dreadful for many activities, but we do see at the moment that the economy, the industry is picking up pretty fast, and that it's how to say, turning the good side, recognizing the benefit of digitalization, and the flip side being the weaknesses in the full supply chain. Now, if this is indeed, as you indicated, the more permanent problem or a longer-term problem in the full value chain of the ECS sector, electronic components and systems, then I think we would need to look at how to say, increase capacity, increase European production capacity on semiconductor, having a new fab. And you may be aware that Commissioner Breton is alluding to this, and so this would be, to say, a good point for you that this realizes.
Yeah, actually, absolutely. We appreciate the initiative from the European Union. And let me describe a little bit what we are doing here in Dresden. GLOBALFOUNDRIES in Dresden is the biggest semiconductor manufacturer and foundry in Europe. We are part of a fab cluster in GLOBALFOUNDRIES. One fab is in Singapore, 300mm fab, one here in Dresden, and one big fab cluster in Malta, upstate New York. And basically the situation which I described for Dresden is also valid for the other sites. And really, who can supply chips is really currently the king, right? So it's really important, and we all grow. All sites will grow. And for Dresden, this means that we will grow in the next, let's say, 2 years. We will grow our output by a factor of 2.5 out of the existing 4 walls. We have still free clean room space, which we are currently filling with tools, and this will basically drive this output here on this side. However, we have also plans beyond this to build fab extensions. Every site is working here on a plan to basically grow beyond the existing 4 walls and really build new fab modules. And this is also already kind of an underlining what I described before, that the demand is really permanent. Yeah, otherwise we would not do this investment. And with in the European Union, there comes also a couple of other factors together, because also I think Europe, and in particular the automotive industry, realizes how important it is to have a certain digital sovereignty. Therefore, they are also helping us kind of in growing, right? And I think this is also the reason why we appreciate here the initiative from the European Union, in particular from Commissioner Breton. When it comes then to the application, in which area we are investing, let me describe it this way, right? There are needs for chips, let's say in fabricated in technologies nodes, you know, higher than 12 nanometers, so from 12 to 65 nanometer or even higher. And then there are nodes which supply, you know, advanced microprocessors which are fabricated in 3, 5, or 7 nanometer. And here I would like to say that we, as GlobalFoundries, serve the market 12 nanometer and higher. In particular, from Dresden, we serve here 22 FDX up to 55 nanometer technology nodes, which is consumed by many big European headquartered companies, but also worldwide.
So I think it's good news to see that there is indeed an increased demand on semiconductor capacity on producing, but also I believe from the technology side, as you alluded to, not only on the node size, yeah, but also on the basic technologies. And we have been working under Excel often together, yeah, GlobalFoundries as one of the project partners. And maybe sort of unfortunately, many of the customers do not always realize what actually has been implemented as European technology in many of the consumer products like telephones. Yeah, and we have, let's say, working together very much on SOI technology. What is your expectation on the further development of the silicon on insulator technologies, and how enthusiastic are you about that?
Okay, I'm very enthusiastic about it, and FDX is really a European technology. It was developed in Europe by ST, Leti in France, mainly. Zoetech, it's a French company, is fabricating the wafers on SOI, and it was industrialized here in Dresden, Germany by GlobalFoundries. We are in volume production with 22 FDX. It's really a truly European technology, and it's for some applications really is the best choice. 22 FDX is the right technology for everything which is 5G, millimeter wave, radar application for automotive. And it's also highly adaptable. One can build features on it like MRAM and non-volatile memory, or high voltage for OLED drivers. So a highly flexible, extremely low leakage, really good technology platform serving European companies, and also highly extendable to 12 nanometer and maybe a little bit beyond this. So we are really proud of having the opportunity to industrialize this here in Dresden, and we are kind of the excellence center of GlobalFoundries, you know, driving this technology further. Again, right now we are in 22 nanometer volume production. We make it still smarter by developing, feature for it like MRAM, resistive RAM, expanding the application space for this technology. But we're also looking in scaling it to 12 nanometer or 10 nanometer. It's not fully defined yet in order to, bring this technology one node further. So we are pretty bullish on this one regarding, application. I think you will not find a lot of handies where not an SOI front end is used for the antenna, and you will also find 22FDX chips in multiple, applications like smart home, for instance. There are chips in 22FDX for voice recognition, or 5G base stations, or millimeter wave radar systems which are going into cars. Really a good node, highly extendable, expandable, and a truly European technology.
Yeah. And I'm very happy to hear, that also from this technology point you're very enthusiastic. And maybe one point related to this, the FDX, the SOI technology related to consumer products, related to telephones, as you indicated. Most of the antennas are made using that technologies. And one of the benefits directly for the customer, which was told to me by some of the colleagues, is that this allowed to generate the borderless telephone. Yeah, because we may remember our generations when we had to go to Asia, we had to buy a new telephone because just the wavelength and the antennas were not compatible. Yeah, the current system and the reduction of that scale allows that all the antennas, whether you use them or not, are on the same chip. And they can be used, so you can travel from Europe to Asia with your same telephone and it's still going to work. So these are directly customer impacting benefits, but many of the customers don't realize this, how it was in the past. Very, very happy to hear. Now we have two good things now from this discussion. We have increased capacity. We have a perfect technology. What else should we have in Europe to adopt to the international competition? What is then still missing to catch back on the, let's call it international competition with the Asians and the Americans? Okay. What needs to be more?
Let's say it this way. First, we really would like to play our role here in digital sovereignty of Europe and Germany. And to be a little bit sovereign, you need to also have the whole supply chain a little bit under control, right? So we depend here in Dresden also on chemicals, for instance. And right now we have sometimes really the challenge to bring them from Asia, US chemicals to Europe, which are not fabricated here in Europe. I think this needs to be really looked at, that this supply is more robust, and it's also greener to fabricate this closer to the fabs. Basically less CO2 footprint, not so long transport ways, more reliable transport ways. I think this is one we should look at. Another thing which is really we talked here about wafers currently, but you need to also package them in plastic, right? At the very end, you want to have a chip, right, and not a wafer. And here probably we need also to look in Europe how we bring packaging technology on scale to at least serve some of the production and industrialize this again in Europe. Right now, I think we all depend, the world depends actually on Asia to do packaging. I do not know any other place where you have really a significant capacity for this. And then, of course, we need to look on the decision making, right? So we talked now a lot about we have a good technology. We all have the will to do something, and I see also the European Union and the governments have the strong will to improve the digitalization and sovereignty. So, but now we need to execute also, and here we see the need for faster speed. Our industry, the semiconductor industry, speed is of essence, right? Fast decision, fast build up of capacity, and then deliver the products. And Europe is really, I love to live in Europe. It has many, many, many advantages. I'm also a really European I like living here, but we need to have faster decisions. Asia and US are sometimes really fast in decision making. We all have here currently what I see the will. We have the budget to support the European semiconductor industry, but the execution is simply lacking speed. We need to come to faster decisions.
Thank you. That message is very clear. Faster decision making, and let's hope that one way or another, all the developed digital technologies can help on this. But yes, it's maybe how to say a recurrent issue which comes back is the fast decision making in Europe. Yeah, we have to get an agreement with the 27, 28 different member states, countries to get forward. Maybe a last question to wrap up our interesting discussion, Manfred. We're going to launch our new program pretty soon. Yeah, KDT, Key Digital Technologies, is going to start, let's hope, the second half of this year. And again, depends a little on decision-making timing. If there would be anything, maybe one thing you would like to see, you would request to us, to me as the director, or the whole governing board on what XL KDT in the future could bring to you as a biggest European fab, what would be on your first priority wish list for that?
Helping to line up all companies. Maybe I explain this a little bit. I mean, we had extremely good experience with the former Excel joint undertaking. We run many programs with it. I have here the names. Way to Go Fast, Reference, Ocean 12, Beyond 5, all programs which were essential for our growth here, helping us to develop technologies, and in particular building features on top on 22FDX, but also other nodes. So really important programs for us. And now the follower joint undertaking, you mentioned it, KDT, right? Please continue so, but we also need help basically to set up kind of this environment and the program landscape really for digital sovereignty and to make it happen, right? I mentioned in my answer before that speed is really important. Help the organizations to speed up. This would be my strong request. Sometimes we spend so much time on the procedure itself, but not driving really the outcome we need in order to make it happen. Here you can really play a vital role to line up, how to say, line up all ducks that it goes fast.
Line up all companies, I will take from that, and I fully agree with you. I think, and I often say that the joint undertaking is the most important word in the XL joint undertaking is the word joint. Yeah, it's trying to do the things together, aligning everybody in the same direction, and that's the only way we can be stronger in Europe in every single technology, but also in the ECS technology. Manfred, I thank you very much for this very enlightening interview. I appreciate the time and your vision, and of course we hope that you will continue to support the future joint undertaking, the KDT, Key Digital Technologies. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much.